So the point is, just don't do it alone. If you could do it alone, you would do it alone. Surround yourself with people who are there for you and make you want to do better. Like if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody that you just want to be that better man for her or him, you know, that kind of feeling, like you make me want to be a better person. Because that coach believes in you more than you believe in yourself, and you need that accountability. You need that person standing by your side, who's standing by your side with their hand on your back and pushing you just a little bit.
Welcome to the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast. Let's get into the show.
Hey everyone, this is Augustino. For many people starting out in real estate and looking to reinvent their lives by diving into a new career, it can be quite overwhelming and it's very, very stressful. One of the keys to overcoming these issues is to live a life with intent and setting yourself to be free of fear and replace that fear with positive mindset building, uplifting emotions. Well, today's guest has a very deep understanding of the limits people place on themselves and helps them overcome them. She inspires thousands of people with her personal story and has helped many of them clear away these mindset blocks and limiting beliefs that have prevented them from reaching their full potential in business and in life. She is an award-winning inventor, best-selling author, TEDx speaker, and TV host. As the founder of I Have Today, she and her team are out to fulfill their mission to help 1 billion people discover their true divinity, power, and purpose. With all that, I'd like to welcome Diane Forster to the show. Hey, Diane, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Augustino, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Very, very excited. Very excited. But if you like what Diane has to say, you can reach her via her website at dianeforster.com. And if you like our content, please don't forget to leave a comment and rate the show. And finally, if you text the word freedom to 202-410-4202, you'll get our free ebook, The Bulletproof Guide to Finding a Broker. Okay, Diane, maybe tell listeners a little bit more about your background.
Happy to. Well, I started out in my corporate background was in advertising and television sales. I spent 32 years in that industry, 8 in the ad business in LA, and then moved to Chicago to get married and switched over to television sales. And I spent the last 20 of those years at Disney ABC. And so I learned a lot in that career. I've sold over $100 million of advertising in my career, and just learned a lot about marketing and messaging and branding and client relations and, of course, sales. And while I was working, I was raising my twins. I was married and raising my twins, living in the suburbs of Chicago. And I love to cook and bake and entertain. And I had this frustrating thing happened to me in the kitchen one day, and I came up with an idea for a kitchen product. And so I really didn't know what to do with it, but I spoke to some friends about it, and I said, hey, I came up with this idea for this kitchen product, a sifting spoon that you could use for decorating foods and beverages. Do you know anyone in the industry? And they did, and introduced me to him, and he became my mentor and tried to talk me out of the idea of creating it, because he said it's not easy at all. And my mantra was, well, I just want to see where this goes. And so one thing led to another, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I was spending, evenings and weekends coming up with it, following through on this idea and this concept. And that mantra of just seeing where it goes led me to winning an innovation award at the International Houseware Show in Chicago. And it led to an on-air appearance at QVC, and we sold out in 6 minutes. So I share that with you because that was some random idea for a sifting spoon that led to this phenomenal journey. Now, was there a lot of lessons in there? Absolutely. But that whole experience opened my eyes to entrepreneurship because it was something that I never even considered. So leg 1 is the corporate background in advertising and TV sales. Leg 2 is the experience with inventing. Leg 3, and what I'm doing today with I Have Today, is my personal journey. And so while it looked like to the outside world, I had this have it all life, the packaging of my life looked really good. What was going on the inside was a totally different story. I was very unhappy and depressed and exhausted in a very unfulfilling, narcissistic relationship. And it was a secret that I kept hidden to the outside world. And I stayed in that marriage and that relationship for 20 years.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
why I want to share it is because you can't live that way indefinitely like that. With that secret, it was literally eating me alive inside. And I attempted suicide in June of 2011. In fact, the 9-year anniversary of it just passed. And so I had experienced a God moment in the bathroom that night. It was just a regular Saturday afternoon. We went out over to some friends for a barbecue. And when we got in the car to come home, the fighting started and I snapped. And what happened to me is I had 2 full bottles of prescription pain medication in my hand, dumped into my hand, and I was ready to end my life. And my arm got knocked down like a karate chop to it. And a voice screamed in my ear, "You are not ending your life this way, Diane. You need to go get help so that you can tell your story and you can help others." And I just threw my hands in the air and said, "Well, you need to show me the way because I don't know how. I don't know what to do." And so I cleaned up that mess, flushed the pills, went out, kissed my kids goodnight. And the next day I reached out for help and I called a therapist and I said, "I need help. I'm changing my life." And so it set me down this path of, self-help and personal development and spiritual awakening. And I started really healing in this very profound way. And I'm highly intuitive. I didn't know that's what I was at the time, but all of these intuitive psychic gifts started just flooding open to me. And I started to expand and heal in this extraordinary way. And so I started writing and creating more things. And so 2 years after my bathroom incident, I woke up with a poem in my head called "I Have Today." And I wrote it down as fast as I could. And when I finished writing it, among the many other things I had been writing, I looked at this and I knew it was different. I said, "This is way more than a poem. This is a movement. This is what God was talking about in the bathroom 2 years ago. I'm supposed to help other women, people who don't know their self-worth, discover their true divinity, power, and purpose. Because if I was living in this quiet hell like this, how many other millions of people are living like this too?" And so I could see the spifter in my mind that day in the kitchen when I, dumped out the paprika, all of my deviled eggs. I could see the product in my mind. I could see "I Have Today" in my mind too. And I just held on to it and I didn't know what I was doing with it, but I just knew there was something there. So fast forward 2 more years and my twins graduated high school and, I had gotten out of that marriage, and a lot of other things transpired. And I made a bold decision. I decided that I wanted an extraordinary life and I was going to do everything I can to get it. So I decided that their last day of high school was my last day in corporate America. And I quit my job at ABC, not knowing what was going to happen. I sold my house and everything in it. I got my twins off to college and I moved from Chicago to San Diego with the same mantra of, "I just want to see where this goes." And it's almost 5 years now. It's been extraordinary. And it's been, I don't want to say it's been easy because it certainly hasn't. It's been tremendous amount of work, but I love what I do and I do what I love every single day. And I got certified as a coach. I wrote my book, I trained with speakers, I hired speakers, joined masterminds, just really immersed myself into everything. And from that has evolved and sculpted into what is now, I Have Today. And we are on this mission, like you said, to serve 1 billion lives. That is my, I want it to be my living legacy, to really help people get rid of those limiting beliefs and those mental blocks, that fear, that guilt, that shame, the feelings of low self-worth, feelings of not loving themselves, because that's what it was for me. When I uncovered it all, I realized, oh my God, I don't love myself. So while there was betrayal and things that happened on his end of it, I had to own my part. I turned the finger inward and I said, I did this. I'm the one that's responsible for the condition of my life. I was the enabler. I didn't set healthy boundaries. I didn't allow myself to really pursue the things that I wanted. I let them fall by the wayside and go to the back burner. So I don't want this anymore. And so,
Right.
yes, so that's really what happened. And so now what I do with my coaching, with my TV show and my podcast and speaking and the events and my programs and everything, it all is focused on the mindset, because it doesn't matter what you're doing. If your mindset isn't right, you are going to keep coming up against these barriers in life. You're going to keep, I don't call them mistakes, but you're going to keep finding yourself repeating certain habits that are netting you those same results. And if you're not happy with the condition of your life or the results, you need to be looking at your mindset first. What's holding me back? What am I not even consciously aware of? Because, I'll get into this and what's actually happening. It's not even on a conscious level. It's on a subconscious level. So we need to bring awareness about what's happening in the subconscious up to the conscious so that we can create the change. So,
wow. Excellent. Yeah. A lot to unpack there. So,
yeah.
So, but you know what though, Diane, I think that there's many, many people listening right now. They might be going through some of what you're describing, where they feel like they don't have control of their life. When I was doing the corporate thing, you and I had very similar sort of background in many cases, but it wasn't until I decided to really make that clear decision that entrepreneurship was for me. I'm going to come hell or high water. I'm going to make it happen. But, that gap between making that decision to actually doing it could be quite large. But even before that gap, so I think you just started talking about it, where someone had to make that choice, right? So how does someone bring those feelings to the surface so they can address them, so they can start talking through them to actually have the faith to take that leap? Like how do people do that?
That's such a great question. And it really depends on the person. It depends on your situation and your level of comfort. But if you want to make that leap from corporate to entrepreneurship, or, you want to reinvent your life, whatever that might look like for you, you really need to do, the first thing is an assessment of, where am I right now? What's working in my life and what's not working in my life. And if I could, I do a lot around questions. We don't ask ourselves enough questions, and we don't ask ourselves the right questions. So I do a lot of, questioning. What do I want my life to look like 1 to 3 years from now? And the reason why I do that stretch is because I got this from Vishen Lakhiani. He said, we typically overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 3 years. So I love that swing of that 1 to 3 years. If it could look and time and money aren't an issue, because I'll tell you, they are an illusion. They're totally an illusion. That what would that be for me? What do I want? And maybe it's I want, a passive income lifestyle in the real estate industry. That's something that has appealed to me. So maybe what I want to do is I want to learn more about that and start by dipping your toe in a little bit. You don't necessarily have to do what I did, which was the complete leap of faith, but that was a progression that started, I connected all the dots back. Well, it started because of that background that I had in advertising and TV sales. And then it got fueled by the invention process. And then, the creative process of my personal life, which to me is the most important relationship and piece of my life is that piece of it. So what do I want to do in terms of that? So ask that question, and then maybe, and I'm just using your industry as an example, but this applies to every industry. So start listen to podcasts, read books, attend virtual events, because that's what the world we're in right now, and start learning a little bit more about it. And then also ask yourself, what brings meaning to my life? What could I do all day, every day, that even in the hard days, I'm still motivated and driven to do it? And and I coach a lot of women, and they're into fitness, or they're into real estate, or they want to write a book, or they want to be a coach or a speaker too, an influencer, or, they want to create, they love to cook. I had a client of mine who is a speaker trainer, and she has this passion for baking pies. And around the holidays, everyone's hitting her up for her pies, and she's only charging them a small amount to cover the ingredients. And I turned that love of pies into a monthly pie of the month subscription business for her. She had no idea that she had that, in her. So she's doing multiple things at the same time, right? So I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but the thing is, you got to be asking yourself questions. What brings meaning to my life? What if my life could look any way I want it to look in the next 1 to 3 years? What would that be? And what do I love to do? And I could do all day, and like time loses all meaning. So think about the things that are important to you and prioritize them.
And one thing you touched on too is establishing goals around them too, right?
Yeah.
That is absolutely huge. And
Yes.
it's so underestimated. But writing down your affirmations every day, which is, I've talked about it on the show before, writing down your daily affirmations, writing in a journal every morning before things get crazy, but then also establishing that goal. A 1 year, a 3 years, 3 years probably more realistic, right? What do you see yourself? What do you see your life looking like? And what work is required to get there? Mm-hmm. And it may also mean, it's something you touched on, mentorship. Right. With this lady with her pies. Right. I mean, so basically she was doing it all for free out of the kindness of her heart, or basically free in terms of her labor, but she turned it into a business. And I bet she wasn't even thinking about doing a business. Right.
No idea. Didn't even think of that. And it's amazing. And she loves the brand, and she loves what she's doing. And it's just opened up this whole other world for her, in addition to her speaking and training business, which she still loves to do too. So that's what I say to somebody. When I consult somebody, and I will tell you right now, I do business coaching. Obviously, I have a lot of business experience, so I will fill in, I'll help a lot in those areas. But when you come to me, know that what we're going to do first is we are doing mindset work first. If we don't get the mindset in check and get you really clear, get you over the pain from your past and your limiting beliefs, and what I call the dandelions living in the subconscious mind, and replace those with the bed of roses, which is your dreams, your goals, your opportunities, your ability, your empowerment, your ability to go after what you want with excitement and anticipation, instead of apprehension and anxiety. That the magic in that is so much fun, because fear is just projected worry into the future. It's false evidence appearing real. I don't know if you ever heard that acronym.
Oh yeah.
Fear is truly, if you think about the things that you worry about, 99.999% of them never even come true. That's just somebody else's story and programming that got imprinted in you, in your subconscious mind, which is what I call the database, between the ages of birth and 7 or 8 years old. 85% of our limiting beliefs are imprinted in us then. So can I go into a little bit about what's happening in the mind?
Absolutely. I was just going to ask you. Yeah, sure. Please.
So what's happening is, in the mind, we have 5% is the conscious, and then 95% is the subconscious. And the subconscious role is strictly to collect data. So I am a 55-year-old woman. I say my age. I have no problem saying my age. So imagine if my phone is 55 years old, and this phone never had an upgrade software upgrade or update, never had antivirus software put into it, how slow and sick would this run, right? It would probably be only able to do a couple of functions, right? It just would run so slow. That's what's happening in the subconscious mind. So Dr. Joe Dispenza says 95% of the thoughts that we're thinking today are the same exact thoughts that we're thinking yesterday. And the reason why is we're just running on old programming. We can't help it. So if you don't change the hardware and update the hardware, you're going to keep living this same pattern over and over and over again. It's so fascinating. So when I work with somebody, I find out, give it to me all. I want to know everything about you. I want to know I want to know your upbringing. I want to know your past. I want to know your fears. I want to know all the pain. I want to know all the good too, but I want to know it all because I need to find out that programming that's running on you. And then we never talk about it again, ever, ever, ever. And so then I go in and I create their own personalized mantra meditation that they listen to every day. It's like 5 to 10 minutes that starts to clear away the dandelions. Because if you think about it, why I call them dandelions is because think about, they're a field of weeds, like blocking the grass and everything else good from coming up. So, but how would you manage a field of dandelions? You would not be pulling them out one at a time. You just can't do it, right?
Right.
So what you have to do is you have to put the weed killer on it, and then the fertilizer and the water, and then you mow them, and you notice they go away in like a week to 2 weeks, right? Same thing. This is the same exact concept. They can go away fast, but we have to keep the change will happen quickly, but then we keep feeding it the positive fertilizer, and that. And what happens scientifically is you start to create new neural pathways. And then all of a sudden you start dreaming bigger. You're starting to get better ideas. You're starting to move in more inspired action. You're starting to get a clearer sense of who you are and what you want. You're starting to speak better about it because I link mindset, emotions, and language to what you're bringing into your life is truly what you're thinking about, what you're feeling, and then what you're speaking. What you're communicating is attracting those manifestations. So we go in and do that mindset work, and it is daily work. I will tell you, like going to the gym, you got to work your muscles on a regular, consistent basis. You have to work your mindset on a regular, consistent basis. I do it every day. I meditate every day. I journal every day. I affirm every day. I do mantras every day, all of that, because we have to keep feeding it the good stuff, because the bad stuff is all around, and it's still living in there. And even though we're not, they're never going to go away. 70% of the thoughts you think every day are negative thoughts. It's not that they go away. It's how you manage them. So you don't let them take you down that rabbit hole. You don't let fear get in the way. And so what I hear a lot personally is, how are you able to do all the things you do? Like your progress is moving so fast. Like you've accomplished so much and you've done so much, which is very humbling to me. But I live I practice what I preach every single day. And so I make decisions from where I want to go in the next 1 to 3 years, not from where I am. It's definitely a different way of operating, because, and I know this for a lot of people, you're not stepping into your next level of greatness because you're looking at how much money is in the bank, or all of these limiting realities, which are a factor, believe me. But the miracle zone is on the other side of fear when you step into faith. That's when all the magic started happening for me. When I took that leap of faith and walked away from the life that I knew, 20-year career at ABC, 20-year marriage, 20 years in that house, literally sold off the home, my twins' childhood home, to pursue this, everything else started happening. It's like the universe keeps dropping all these gifts and, magic into my world. And so I live to teach others how to do that and create that for themselves too. So,
and I can tell you're very, very excited about it too.
yeah.
It's great to hear someone that overcame the same sort of things. I mean, again, I had to do the same sort of thing, but unfortunately I did it myself, which I don't recommend. I always recommend get a mentor, get a coach, get someone to help you overcome some of those negative things. Because the way that I did it was just by listening to Tom Bilyeu on the way to the gym early in the morning when there's no noise, right? And it's like, impact quotes. I listen to that every single morning. That's
Love
the programming. That's the programming I'm running on.
Yeah.
But that's what it took. But unfortunately, I had to figure it out on my own. So hopefully people listening, they'll see the benefit of this too, right? This is very, very good stuff, because ultimately a lot of those fears, the way that fear works, especially when it comes to the human species, the way that we are wired as a species, is that we are always looking for things that can harm us first, and then harm those closest to us. So that's why the negative stuff, especially the negative stuff you see in the media, all that,
yep,
it's geared in a way to get your attention, because again, we're looking for those negative things. And it's overwhelming, because you're fighting a biological tendency, basically. It's very, very tough to overcome. So for someone that wants to, it all comes down to just making a change in your life. And for many people, especially people that come to us for help with building their real estate business, it requires a big mental shift of first overcoming the fear of, I can't do it, when you certainly can, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, it requires a whole lot of commitment as well, commitment to actually do the work, which I think, Diane, I mean, do you find that many people, they have the rah, they're ready to go, maybe they even start writing out their affirmations, but the commitment level, do you think that that's probably some of the weakest points that people don't make to really, really see their success through?
Definitely. I will say, because I've coached a lot of people, I mostly coach women now. I'm going to be totally honest with you. That's kind of the lane that I picked. It's women, a lot of women just like me. They get enthused up front, right? And then they lose their momentum. Although I have now, manifestor, law of attraction, I have said I only attract the right fit client who is coachable and is committed to her own success and does the work, because I can bring it all, and I do bring it. I mean, this is how I am with you in the interview. This is how I am with them. Totally in. I'm so vested. You've got to meet me for your half. You've got to be able to do that. And so I'll tell people that this is like anything. I just hired a new trainer. I am on this commitment. This is my year of radical change. And it's one of the things I have to lead by example, right? So I've changed a lot of things in my life. I gave up alcohol and caffeine and all kinds of things. And I just hired a trainer because I am committed to getting in the best shape in my life. And I knew I needed to hire a trainer to do it because I wasn't doing it on my own. And now I'm hooked and I'm addicted, and I love it because he brings it to me and I bring it for him. So this is what I tell people. You've got to hire somebody to help you, because if you could do it on your own, you would be doing it. And if you're not going to be committed, then I'm not the coach for you. I'm not the coach for you. I need you to be able to step up to it. And so what I also love, in coaching, if you don't mind me sharing, is I'm pivoting to group, because with my TV show and the podcast and everything that I'm building with the network, I don't really have the time anymore to have private clients. So I created a group program. And what I also like about that is they lift each other up too. So the point is, just don't do it alone. If you could do it alone, you would do it alone. Surround yourself with people who are there for you and make you want to do better. Like if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody that you just want to be that better man for her or him, or you just want to be that better woman for him or her, that kind of feeling, like you make me want to be a better person because that coach believes in you more than you believe in yourself. And you need that accountability. You need that person standing by your side, who's standing by your side with their hand on your back and pushing you just a little bit, meeting you where you are, but pushing you a little bit more.
It's funny because when I first started going to the gym, well, back in my teens anyway, I wanted to go to the gym. I'd show up, not know what to do. And it was just a lost cause. You maybe went for a couple of days and then you're off for a week. Not very effective. But it wasn't until I studied boxing and MMA first, where with a real coach, sparring with other pros that are actually going to fight for real. That was a very interesting time in my life. But when I was doing that and then doing CrossFit, there is a level of accountability there. And it works the same way, not only in the physical stuff, but also in the mind as well, right? To hold you accountable to, are you writing in your journal every day? Well, I got busy. How important is this to you? If I can tell you that every single line you write in that book means you're closer to getting that $1 million property, does that help you? And that's how it is. Every single sentence you write.
I call it being selfish in a really good way. You need to put yourself first. I call it my nurture my spirit, mind, and body routine, 2 hours every day on me, with my meditation, with my journaling, and with my exercise. And that allows me to give so much more to the rest of the world. And here's an illuminating little tidbit for the audience. Think about all the things that you're busy with. Now, unless you're caring for someone, you are physically responsible for caring for another person, the survival of somebody else. Everything else, for the most part, has to do with somebody else's needs, not yours. So You need to put you first and foremost. You need to make the time. The emails will wait. The phone calls will wait. The texts will wait. You have to set that healthy boundary for yourself, because I say this all the time. The worst emotion in the world is regret. It's regret. All you have is today, and you don't get this day back. So if you lay your head on the pillow at the end of the night and you don't look back on that day and go, God, that was a really good day. That was an amazing day. You've missed the opportunity. And if you wake up in the morning and you're not jumping out of your bed, excited about the day in front of you, you're missing your life. So this is like in your face coaching I'm giving you right now, but it's such a wake up call, isn't it? And if
it's true. It's true.
If the current pandemic situation hasn't been your wake up call, I don't know what is. How precious and valuable this life is, besides your health and actual life in jeopardy, but all the freedoms that got taken away from us, everything that's happening right now. This is the big, like shaking you by the shoulders moment that the universe is providing for us to go, remember why you came here. You got to figure that out. You've got things to do. You've got a purpose to live, So yes.
Diane, we only get once around the ride. I mean, we don't know what happens afterwards, right?
Right.
After, and that's the thing. While you're on this planet, you have to experience greatness, and it's up to you to manifest it. And I think to your point too, it doesn't matter who's asking you to soak up all your time. I mean, even if it's your parent, which is very hard to do, to turn away your parent asking you, hey, can you help me do a flip or something?
Right.
It's tough to do. Maybe you help them out by paying someone else to do it. It might be easier than devoting your own time, because you can always make more money. You can never make more time. That's the thing. You can always do that. So, but if you knew somebody right now, it might be listening. And I know every case is unique. Mm-hmm. But if someone's listening right now and they've been wanting to get into the real estate business or wanting to see a positive change in their life, what are the 3 things that you would recommend that they do to start at least taking a step towards it?
Tell somebody. Say it out loud. Don't keep it to yourself. Share. If I didn't say at dinner that night to my friends, hey, I have this idea for a kitchen product. Do you know anyone in the industry? My life would have a completely different trajectory, right? Share that with somebody and maybe even join, a meetup group or a virtual meetup group or whatever. Start being the person in the room who knows the least and is most uncomfortable, because you won't always be that. So get in, groups and surround yourself with places where you feel uncomfortable. I've come to embrace being uncomfortable as, I'm growing. I'm just growing. So do that. I'm telling you, when you do it that first time and you tell somebody or you get in that group, afterwards, you're going to feel so much better. You might feel like, oh my God, there's so much more I need to learn. And how's this going to happen? Just go, it's okay. I took step 1 today. I did 1% better today. So that would be one. The other thing is, get really clear on your why. Why do you want to do this? So your why might be, well, because I want passive income. Okay, well then why do you want passive income? Well, I want to be able to, do what I want when I want. Now, I'm just kind of running down the list of whys. This is actually in Dean Graziosi's books, the seven layers of why. Well, because the ultimate reason why most of us want anything and everything is for freedom. We want freedom, time, money, freedom to live life the way that we want. So get really clear on why you want it. And it might be because it's fun too. I mean, real estate's fascinating. I think it's really fun. And it's something that is on my vision board down the road. Not this year, but in the 1 to 3 year. Yeah.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year. So that's it. So those two things, tell somebody or get in groups, figure out your why, write that out, figure out why you want it. And then the last, probably most important, is I would meditate on it. I would actually sit on your couch or in a chair and close your eyes and deep breathe, and just for 15, 20 minutes, maybe you need to start with 5, but set a timer. Don't get off your butt until the timer goes off, and sit there and visualize your life as this person who is a real estate investor with this phenomenal multi-7-figure portfolio, or whatever that vision is for you, whatever it is, you know what it is, and just allow it to unfold and allow the little visualizations to come in, the people you're going to be interacting with, the way you're going to dress, what you're going to drive, the way you're going to carry on the negotiations, whatever it is, allow it to actually come in, because you've got to be able to see it to believe it, right? In your mind, right? And then you'll believe it, and then you'll see it on the outside. Does that make sense?
100%. I mean, and it's almost like you're self-programming as well. I mean, you can even take it a step further and write it down on a daily basis. Your reticular activating system will get turned on. And now you start seeing those things that you wish to manifest will start appearing everywhere around you. It's the craziest thing, but that stuff works.
It works.
It actually works.
It works. It's actually quantum physics and science. It's not just spiritual woo-woo like the universe, law of attraction, all that. It is actually science-based. And, if everything exists, everything already exists in the energetic field. So if you've ever thought about it, there's a reason why that thought got dropped in. Then you might have just let it go. But if you hang on to the thought and build on other thoughts with it, then all of a sudden it will manifest. It will show up, and your RAS will help you see the signs everywhere. And I teach so much of this because I live so much of this. These manifestations happen, things like instantaneously. It's amazing how it works when you commit to you and you actually do the work for you. It's for nobody else. It's for you. That's
probably some of the discipline and some of the hard work that has to take place, is even just planning it out, so to speak, right? That's what all that is. It's really defining what it's going to look like. Defining up front what it's going to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now, I think you touched on this earlier, the importance of reading, the importance of acquiring new data in your head. So do you have like a specific reading program? What do you do in terms of with your students anyway? Like, how do you encourage them to really make reading books a priority in their life?
Well, I always suggest books. Sometimes I send them to them as part of my group coaching program. They're getting one once a month. And yes, I definitely do that. Things that are you find interesting. So the latest book I just read was Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he really takes this to a whole new level. And he's all, science-based, where I'm a lot more spiritual in it. I tap into that a lot. And I've developed my intuitive gifts where I can see, hear, feel, and know now, which I didn't have that capacity 2 years ago. All of that ability. I don't know what you believe or don't believe, but it's very much a part of what I do. So I would say that you need to, or you want to find yourself reading things that expand this. If you are into real estate, read books on successful people in the real estate industry. Grant Cardone, my goodness, God, read 10X for sure. I read that, loved it. And so books are definitely a part of it.
Yeah. It really helps you acquire some of the new, or I guess it fills your head with different information, different points of view that could support what you're trying to do. And it's only meant to give you more ideas and really pull in more information. And that's the thing though, too. I think that many people don't read enough. I committed at the beginning of the year to listen to one book a week.
Yes.
A week. That's a lot of listening. That's a lot of listening. Mm-hmm. So far I'm tracking. I'm still there. I'm still hanging.
Great.
It's been a little bit easier because of all this, all the pandemic stuff. But telling you, for anyone listening, committing to a book list, it will change your life. As a matter of fact, if anybody's listening right now, if you shoot a message through the Bulletproof Cashflow website, I'll send you a book list that I have centered around. I actually think Grant Cardone might be on the list as well, but it's centered around spirituality. It's centered around sales and marketing and real estate, of course. It's you have to really pull in as much different points of view as you can, yes. But only pull it in from the greats, right? Only the greats. Those are the ones that matter.
Yeah, I'm on the book a week club too. Yeah, either read or listen to a book a week.
Yeah, that's right. So if you can recommend one book right now, what would it be?
I would recommend The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani. Have you read that?
No. Tell me about it.
You got to read that book. It is a game changer. Well, Vishen is the founder of Mind Valley, which is, an online educational platform. He's got, it's $100 million brand that he's built. And it's based in spirituality, but in health and wellness and a lot of mindset work. And this book is extraordinary. His new book just came out, but I would read Code of the Extraordinary Mind. You will understand about your mind so much better by reading that book.
Yeah. Excellent. I'm gonna include that in the show notes as well.
Yeah,
because it sounds very interesting. What I'll do is I'll download it right after this.
Yeah, good.
I'm gonna grab it right after this. That's what I'll do.
That's good.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to reach out to Diane, you can reach her through her website at dianeforster.com. I'll include a link in the description as well. I hope you're able to see what is possible for you. Every single person listening right now has greatness within them. Go ahead and attack it. Okay. Don't forget to head over to Diane's website. Check out her book as well. She's got a lot of great material up there.
And my TV
Take
show.
Care. And your TV show too. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, guys, take care, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the Bulletproof Cashflow podcast.